I was often the youngest in the room, sometimes and still to this day, the only female in the room. I was really proving to myself all along that I deserved a seat at that table and that I belong. Influence doesn't start when you're at the table. Influence starts before you even enter the room.
How do you build a successful career when the odds seem stacked against you? When you weren't the best student, you didn't have the straightest path, but you had deep inner fire. Namaste. Welcome to the Inspired Series by BAPS Better Living, where we hear the stories behind success. I get to chat with leaders from around the world and hear their stories of success, any challenges they've had, and what they did to overcome them. So today, we have a story from Rina Jariwala. She is the Chief Operating Officer at Fundbox. She's been in the corporate world for over 25 years, and she's led through compassion, grit, and strength. So I've known Rina Jariwala for quite a few years now, and she's always, one thing she's told me is that she wasn't a natural student. She had to work twice as hard. So today we'll get to hear just a little bit more about that. So Rina, how are you doing today?
I am so good and looking forward to our conversation.
Every time we talked, I've always been curious, what got you into this corporate world? How did you start?
What a great question. I'll start by saying that I've always been the kind of person that runs towards the hard problems, the ones that others really tend to avoid. Curiosity drives me, that passion to figure things out. While academics weren't my strong suit, they didn't come naturally to me. I learned early on and really started to value that really success isn't about always your grades, but it's about your grit. It's about the effort you put into things. It's about how you're able to deliver and execute on things. About 8, 10 years into my career, I stepped into this management role. And it was the first time I was leading others, typically much more older than me. And I realized something that was so critical that helped me get through that first management stint. And that was, I don't need to be the smartest in the room. I can rely on my team who has more knowledge and more experience. But what really matters is what you deliver. When I said I was going to deliver on something or my team was going to follow through on something, it was important that we executed. And so, really, to show up, to solve those real problems, to move things forward, I have to say that's what really has driven my career to get to where I am today.
You said that you had this pivoting point in your career, right? So was there ever a point where you knew that you had to work twice as hard to prove yourself?
When I started early in banking, like 25 years ago, I was often the youngest in the room, sometimes and still to this day, the only female in the room. I realized that just being present, being at the table wasn't enough. To be taken seriously, it was going to be important for me that I was going to have to work harder than others, especially because I didn't have the academic side in my corner working towards me. So I would say that, from early in my career, I found myself really studying the problem from every angle, really trying to understand how we got to a certain situation, having one-on-one conversations with many others to build relationships, to understand, to validate my thinking. And through that journey, I realized that I really wasn't here to prove to anyone else what I was capable of. I was really proving to myself all along that I deserved a seat at that table and that I belong. And so through this journey of really, working hard and really trying to solve what was in front of me, I realized that influence doesn't start when you're at the table. Influence starts before you even enter the room. And that's what I really feel like I have been doubling down on.
Influence. I love that. And so you talked about this inner fire, right? And this inner fire comes, I'm sure it came from some values that you held or something that you've learned throughout your years. Can you share a little bit about what core values influenced the way or kind of influenced the way you are today and what helped you stay committed and successful in all these years?
I would say the most powerful value that has helped me the most in my career is one that my guru has taught me, which is called SUMP, also known as unity, right? So I have led large teams, I have led small teams, and every size in between. And what I've learned through SUMP is that it's really leading with humility, with harmony, and with purpose. Whether I'm managing conflict or I'm building a new product, I have found that really that leadership has come from not being the loudest in the room, but it's about bringing people together. My guru is such an inspiration, Puja Mahan Swami Maharaj. When he leads, it's almost this quiet strength that he's really able to lead with. He sees the best in others. Leadership has really taught me it's not about doing stuff for myself, right? It's about how do I bring people along on the journey and how do we rally against where we're going? And unity is the utmost pinnacle of how I tend to lead.
Unity, that's so powerful, right? And you mentioned this idea of sump. And sometimes, from what I understand, is sump is a little bit more than just unity because you're bringing people together with purpose. Can you give me an example of where you brought people together for a purpose and not just bringing people together?
Absolutely. So, usually when I step into leadership roles, I tend to find that different people bring different qualities to the conversation or strengths to the conversation. And sometimes I could choose to look at them as, oh, that's a drawback or it's a fault. But what I've really learned to do is through unity, how do I identify those qualities and how do we leverage the best out of those when I'm building a product or when I'm walking into an organization where I know no one, really trying to understand what motivates each one of those individuals and then bringing those values together has really been able to help me achieve some of the greatest success throughout my career.
I love how you said that you love to bring the best qualities of people, kind of bridge all that together. And that's what, you kind of like take people's strengths and then you help them bring that to the table. To me, that sounds like coaching. So tell me a little bit about what made you pursue this master's in executive coaching after so many years being in the corporate world.
I've always been drawn to helping others. I've always been that one that individuals will come to for advice or to bounce an idea. And it's my passion. I get so much joy in connecting with others and helping them really be able to work through what they're trying to work through. So when I decided to pursue this master's in both coaching and leadership and organizational development, it really was a chance for me to learn the principles around how to support others through this journey. I wanted to create a safe space where people could think about themselves. They could think out aloud. They could be challenged and ultimately find that solution because the number one principle of coaching is the solution lies within the individual who is going through the process. It's not about me, it's about them. We're in a world right now where AI is everywhere. You hear it in every conversation, anywhere you're going. But what I will tell you is that AI can't replace connection, that human one to one relationship. It can't build trust. AI can't walk into a room and provide that empathy that somebody is looking for in a time when they're really wondering how to proceed. Knowing that, knowing what my passions are, knowing my strengths are around relationships and relationship development, I really thought that this was the perfect time to be able to go in and pursue this master's and really start to bring coaching into every conversation I show up in.
That's beautiful, what I'm hearing is that coaching is a way for you to give back to the community. Not only are you a mentor to them, you are side by side along with their journey, and like you said, they're what they have is already inside them. You're just helping them bring it out. One thing you mentioned earlier in this podcast is this idea of sump and unity. Do you feel like this idea is something that's also influencing the way you coach your clients?
Absolutely. I would say that, sump and seeing the good, being able to connect with people and be raw and authentic and maybe potentially use some of my backstory and my journey in these conversations can help create this instant trust and really create a relationship with my clients that allows us to explore deeper into whatever they're going through and get to the other side. So, leading with that sump, leading with seeing the best in others, leading with no ego are all of the things that I think are the right recipe to being able to create meaningful coaching conversations.
I know I'm so interested in this coaching idea, and I want to ask you one last question about it. So, what transformation do you hope to create in the lives of people that you coach?
A lot of times I have found through these coaching conversations that the barrier isn't around their ability, but it's about the story that they're telling themselves, the narrative that they are telling themselves. And so, really, my job is to help them pause. It's to ask if that story is really serving them and if it's really helping support them through where they want to go. I really want my clients to feel safe, to be honest, and to be brave enough to explore the journey that they're on. I am not here to fix them. I did not go to medical school. I am not a trained therapist. But what I'm here to do is help guide and really reflect and help them see more fully who they are. I've been in rooms where I wasn't sure of where I was going or I didn't feel supported. And I really think that when people are going through career transitions or they're learning a new skill or they're wanting to get promoted, I think having someone who has experienced this before, who can give them that support that they're not alone, can really have an impact on them and continue to move forward.
Well, Rena, I wish I could talk to you more about this coaching, but I know we'll definitely connect offline about this. Just for a little bit of a lightning round, just for funsies, let me ask you a couple questions, if that's okay.
Yeah,
So, what's a book that changed your perspective?
without a doubt. Dare to Lead by Brene Brown.
Okay, I gotta read that. I'm gonna add that to my
So
list.
good.
What's one ritual or habit that keeps you centered?
One
Yes.
that I have been doing for many, many, many years is around focused breathing. I find myself in incredibly stressful, high intensity situations on the daily with the work that I do. And so being able, when I see those moments arising within me, to step away, to go take 5 minutes to literally reset myself and breathe from top to bottom has been a game changer for me. In the most recent year, the other habit that I've picked up that has been game changing for me is strength training. I hit the gym 5 to 6 times a week. It's kept me grounded. It keeps me focused, and really, it's helping me build strength from the inside, which will show through everything that I do.
What's one piece of advice you often give in coaching? I know I said I won't go back to coaching, but here I am again.
Believe in yourself. If you don't believe in you, who's going to believe in you?
Well, Rena, it was a pleasure to have you on today's podcast. Is there anything else you would like to share with our viewers or listeners today?
I think that everybody is on a journey. It doesn't get created overnight. It takes time. You will have moments where you don't believe in yourself, where you don't have the confidence or the courage. And that's part of the growing process. Just keep going at it, keep working hard at whatever you're doing, execute, flawless execution. There's a lot of people who talk, but there's few who deliver. And if you deliver, doors will continue to keep opening up for you.
I'm just taking a mental note of all that. So thank you for sharing. Rena, it's been such a pleasure to have you on today's podcast. And to everyone listening in, I hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste. Just